We've got two Audis this week in our comparison, the Q3 and the Q5, both popular choices.
Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
We do these comparisons every single week, so if you like this, it would be nice if you could subscribe and hit the bell. And these are two vehicles, Andrea, from Audi. One is subcompact, one is compact, two of their best sellers, so let's get into it.
In our comparison, we're going to be focusing on the Q5 45 and the Q3 45. The Q5 has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with a 7-speed automatic transmission and a 12-volt mild hybrid system. It has 261 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque.
The Q3 45 also has a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder engine and an 8-speed automatic transmission, 228 horsepower and 251 pound-feet of torque. Both models come with standard all-wheel drive, and Audi recommends premium fuel for the Q5, but the Q3 is designed to run on regular fuel. So we're going to talk about these two engines and how they are from the Volkswagen group, right? So the Q3 engine is actually the last generation GTI engine. And the Audi Q5 engine is shared with the base model Macan engine, right?
Yes, and you can tell the difference between the two. Obviously, the Q5 has more horsepower and torque, and it has just a more refined drive to it than the Q3.
But the premium gas thing could be a tiebreaker for some.
The Q3, being the smallest SUV in the Audi lineup, has a youthful vibe and is a fun daily driver. Its agile handling, smooth shifting transmission, and composure when driving on twisty roads makes this crossover a great sporty option. We do find the steering to be quite light, but the suspension is very good. You don't feel a lot of road imperfections.
We like to call the Audi Q5 the great all-rounder. It does everything well, but it doesn't really excel in any particular area. It offers a comfortable and smooth ride, a quick shifting transmission, but the steering, just like the Q3, is quite light. There's plenty of power for city driving and passing on the highway. The top trim in Canada is called Technik, and it's available with adaptive air suspension and adaptive damping suspension.
Both have similar safety features on the base model, like Audi Presense Basic, Audi Presense Front, cruise control, a tire pressure monitoring system, predictive pedestrian, and progressive steering. The Q5 also gets Audi Side Assist, lane departure warning, and exit warning system. These features are standard one up from the base model on the Q3. Rear cross traffic alert is standard one up from the base model on both the Q3 and Q5, and the top trims of both have the top view camera.
In the US, there are only two Q3 trims available. The base model is called Premium, and it comes standard with Audi Side Assist and Rear Cross Traffic Alert.
One thing about Audi models is the steering is quite light. It's not something that I love. I like heavier steering myself.
You know, the thing is that Audi, I think, does this absolutely intentionally. They have this very light, easy to use attitude, which is why we call them, great all-rounders, because I think it appeals to a wider spectrum of potential buyers. The sportiest drivers might feel a little disappointed with the lack of feel, though.
The Q3 and Q5 have a similar exterior design that is stylish and sporty. They both come with standard LED headlights, LED taillights with dynamic rear turn signals, black window surrounds, roof rails, heated power exterior mirrors, and 18-inch wheels.
You can add packages to the Q3 and Q5 to up the sportiness with high-gloss black grille, black window trim, black mirrors, and 19-inch wheels. This package is available on the base Q3 and on the higher trims of the Q5. Both also have available S-Line Sport packages with S-Line badging, 19 or 20-inch wheels. The Matrix design headlamps are available on the Q5 top trim.
I find that it's sometimes hard to tell the difference between the Q5 and the Q3 on the road. Like, you do a bit of a double take, don't you?
Well, one of the things is Audi is a conservative brand when it comes to styling. Now, that's good and bad. Some people would say, well, they don't take any chances. Their cars are all similar. It appeals to me. I like being able to buy a car and know it's not going to age out quickly. Like, you look at some brands, especially like Korean brands, for example, they come with all of these really fashion-forward looks, and then in a few years you go, was that the best choice? Audi sticks with what they do well.
Do they ever? And like you said, some may find that it's a bit of a boring look to it. I like it too. I think it's quite stylish looking. I like how they've packaged the Q3 to be a real value priced vehicle. Even the Q3 base model, you can add the black optics package to it, where with the Q5, they don't do that. You have to get the Progressiv or the middle trim to get that.
Or they'll sell you the SQ5, which has got the better engine.
Here's our used car alternative from CanadaDrives.ca. We chose a 2020 Audi Q5 Comfort Trim. It has 35,937 kilometers for just under $46,000. Click on the tab or the link in the description below to find more vehicles in this category from CanadaDrives.ca. The Q5 and Q3 have a modern and simplistic interior design. The base trims come with similar standard features like a power tailgate, heated front seats, a power driver's seat, leather seating surfaces, and a panoramic sunroof. The Q3 comes standard with a manual passenger seat, the Q5, a power passenger seat, and a power tailgate with a kick sensor. The Q3 gets a standard heated steering wheel, but the Q5 has its standard one-up from the base model. You can add a package to the base trim of the Q5 to get this feature.
The screens in the Q3, you get a standard 8.8-inch touchscreen with a 10.25 digital driver display. Also Apple Carplay and Android Auto. If you get the top trim called Technik with navigation, you get a larger digital driver display, goes up to 12.3 inches. And the touchscreen gets larger as well at 10.1 inches. That also adds wireless Apple CarPlay and a Sonos premium audio system. Driver's seat memory is also added on the top trim. Here are the screens for the Q5. You get a standard 10.1-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay, and a 7-inch driver information screen. One up from the base model is called Progressiv, and that's where the Q5 gets Audi's virtual cockpit with the beautiful 12.3-inch display. Navigation, it also adds driver seat memory. Now there is a package available for the middle and top trim that gets you ventilated front seats, sport seats, and lumbar support. The Q5 top trims come standard with features like a head-up display, heated rear seats, wireless charger, and the Bang and Olufsen sound system.
The US Q5 trims are a little bit different. You can add the heated steering wheel and driver seat memory in a package to the base trim, and the panoramic sunroof is available as an a la carte item on the base trim. The Bang and Olufsen sound system and panoramic sunroof are standard on the middle trim. Unfortunately, the Q3 does not come with ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, and a head-up display like the Q5.
So Audi's smart, and I think one of the reasons why these are bestsellers in the category, not the overall bestsellers, but some of the bestsellers, is they add things into their vehicles as standard equipment that people really want, like big panel roofs, heated seats, and power tailgates. Some other brands, they're in different packages and you got to pay more.
Yeah, surprising to see that the Q3 comes with a standard heated steering wheel and you have to, add a package for the heated steering wheel on the Q5 or you get it on another trim. I actually like the interior better of the Q3 because I like the integrated touchscreen and I think it's well organized. I think that the Q5 with the tablet sitting on the top of the dash reminds me a bit of the RAV4. Can I say that?
Well, it's a trend for interior design of cars. It's not just RAV4. There's a lot of brands have that tablet style stuck on the dash. Now, one thing we should say, the Q5 is kind of getting towards the end of its life cycle. Yeah. The Q3 was new about 2 years ago. The Q5 is getting towards the end of its life cycle. And because of that, they have amended the interior over time. They took out the wonderful MMI controllers. They used to have a wheel and different tabs to control that screen. They got rid of it a couple of years ago and just went to the touch screen, which a lot of people like. I get that. But they left a hole in the dash where the controller used to be. It's like an odd choice. If you didn't know that, you went in there, you go, oh, that's just like a change holder or something. No, it used to be where they had all the controls. Yeah,
there's some weird storage units in that center console, and they don't really fit anything. It's very odd. But I'm sure that when Audi redesigns the Q5, it will have a more integrated screen like the Q3 and the Q7.
Or they might go with the Q7 look or whatever else is coming, because the Q5 is their best seller. That is their meat and potatoes product. So when the new one comes, it'll be pretty special.
And I have to say, the seats are really comfortable in the Q5. I like that it's open. It has quite a sporty drive to it overall, but the comfort level of the cabin is great. The Q5 is 7.7 inches longer than the Q3 and almost 2 inches wider. The Q5 has less than an inch more front row legroom and almost 2 inches more second row legroom. There isn't a huge difference between the two when it comes to overall cargo space and space behind the second row. The Q5 has an extra 2.1 cubic feet behind the second row and only 6 cubic feet extra in overall cargo space.
Let's start with pricing, and let's start with the smaller Q3. The base model is just over $41,000 in Canada and just under $39,000 in the United States. The top trim in Canada is called Technik, and it's $47,500. In the US, it's Premium Plus, and it's $42,000. Here's the fuel economy: 11.4 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 8.3 on the highway. That's 21 miles per gallon city, 28 miles per gallon highway.
Here's the pricing for the Q5. It starts at $48,000 Canadian, $46,000 in the US, and the top trim is just under $59,500 Canadian and $57,000 in the US. The Q5 45 gets 10.3 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 8.4 on the highway. That's 23 miles per gallon city, 29 miles per gallon highway. The Q3 can tow 1,500 pounds and the Q5 4,400 pounds. Audi offers a warranty of 4 years or 80,000 kilometers, 50,000 miles.
Not sure if you caught that, but the Q3 and the Q5 official fuel economy is almost identical.
I know.
It's quite interesting, right?
Yeah.
But the Q3 runs on regular gas, so you're saving at the pumps if you have the smaller, lighter vehicle.
Yeah, I think that's a real plus considering what gas prices are right now. I think that the Q3 is just a real winner.
And it's the only vehicle in this class, or its competing class, that actually doesn't require premium fuel.
And it's priced so well. I'm really impressed with all of the standard features the Q3 gets. And when we look at the new X1 coming soon, it's going to be priced just under $45,000. So there is a difference there. There's some good value with the Q3.
Okay, so which one appeals to you?
Yeah.
I think really depends on the stage of life that you're in, right? So I think before kids and strollers and car seats and all that, the Q3 would be great. And after strollers and car seats, a Q3 would be great.
Yeah.
I think if you're in that, you need the space for car seats and strollers, you got to go Q5.
I mean, the extra 2 inches that you get in the rear seats with the Q5 makes a huge difference when you're putting in these large car seats and even boosters.
But which one is more fun? I think the Q3 is more fun. It's just smaller. You can bomb it around town.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of a, not a hot hatch, but it's basically like a bigger hatchback car, and you can just park it and it's so easy to use.
And if I were to buy one, I would go with like the bright blue or the bright orange. I think that you can really have a lot of fun with it.
But the Q5, I was going to say Q3, the Q5 is their best seller for a reason.
Yeah.
It is the right size for most people. Like a Q3 is smaller, but for people who need to use it for all those things we just talked about, it just does everything well. Like we call it the best all-rounder against its competitive set like the X3 and so on, because it's so competent at everything. Does it really shine in any one area? I'm not sure, but it really is a good all-rounder.
And size-wise, the Q5 isn't huge, so you still get that agile feeling, and it's a great handling SUV.
But if you want more, they will sell you the SQ5. Yes. That was fun, I tell you. All right, we're all done. What do you guys like? Which one would you choose? Do you have one? Has it been a good experience?
Yeah.
Right below, tell us what you think of the Q5 and the Q3 and which way you guys are leaning. All right, Andrea, what else do they have to do?
Well, follow along on Instagram. It's motormouth_Andrea. You get a sneak peek of what's coming up on the channel and when all of our reviews drop.
Anything else?
Yes. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. We put out a lot of unique content each week, and we'd love you to watch it all.
And when we see them next.
We'll see you next week.